is something to take into consideration when you are leaving out of your normal space, your normal environment, is what is the setting going to be like, so that you can make sure you take what you need, what is going to be appropriate for that setting. So like last night we went to go see the beach, or we went to the beach to see the sunset at the beach. And so that is totally up my alley, something that I am all about. I'm all about nature, all about seeing something like that. But the sand and FND, that would be a no. What's the tea on FND and walking on a sandy beach? Nah, not for me. Not for me. My legs got jiggly so fast. I got I kid you not, maybe 5 steps in and I was like, oh no, going back to the concrete.
Have you tried yoga? Maybe you should see a psychiatrist. Are you stressed? Change your diet. Acupuncture. Try stretching. Sleep? You've been doing so well. Stop stressing. Anxiety. Functional? Functionality.
Functionality. Functionality.
Welcome back to the Functionality Podcast. I'm your host, Tausha. The tea of the day is a raspberry hibiscus tea. And the fruity notes definitely make me feel like vacation. I am currently away from home. If anyone, for my YouTube watchers, you can see that my setting is a bit different and I am enjoying every second of it. I am at a lake house currently and I am just really feeling like I am just a part of nature and I'm trying to relax a bit. I'm about to talk about the adjustments that I've had to make. However, how are y'all functioning? The topic of the day is FND and travel part 2. Part 2 of FND and travel. And I just wanted to really just check in and just make sure to, one, be consistent as far as my episodes, even though I am away from home, because this is something that really means a lot to me. Doing the podcast, bringing information, showing up for myself and showing up for others is something that I really am placing as a high necessity, placing as a high priority in my life. I do apologize for some of the background noise. That's unavoidable. So work with me here and I'll be back to my regularly scheduled and regular environment next episode. But let's talk about travel. Let's talk about how it is, how this has been for me to travel from my safe haven, my safe space, and to go somewhere else, really somewhere that I've never been. How am I adjusting? So let's talk about first the flight. So I had to get to the airport very, very early for my flight. So it really was like middle of the night or early morning. I got to the airport at like 2 a.m. My flight was at 6 a.m., 6:20, something like that. And so I got to the airport at 2 a.m. So that meant I had not slept. Because what was I doing the whole time before that? I was packing. So I'm packing all day. I was doing Mommy Junior's hair. I had to edit my last episode that day. I did a lot and then stayed up and I tried to take a nap. I tried to lay down, but I then stayed up, went to the airport, and then find out we got to the airport too early. So that's what I get for trying to be proactive. That's what we get for trying to avoid being late and trying to be on time. We ended up being too early. So then we just had to kind of wait around in the lobby for a while, and I was in the wheelchair, so that was okay for me. It was fine for me to just kind of sit there. I immediately just kind of was like, okay, well, wherever somebody takes me, that's where I'm going to be at this point. And it was okay. So the beginning was fine. Then going through security and everything, that was a total breeze once we did get everything going. So we got through security, got to the gate, waited at the gate for a little bit, then boarded, got on board. Everything was going very smoothly. And so the flight was okay. I will admit that I did almost slightly have a little bit of a panic. I was sleeping and then I woke up, and so I had a mask on and I also had a neck pillow on. And when I woke up out of my nap and then looked out the window, I had a window seat. Usually I've flown so many times. I don't have an issue flying. And so when I realized that we were up in the air, and then I guess I just felt like I couldn't breathe, I just felt myself just kind of spiraling into this level of panic. And I was like, what is happening to me right now? This never happens to me. But I haven't been on an airplane since really developing symptoms. I mean, I have, but not since, they change all the time. So basically, not since having completely unpredictable symptoms, I haven't. So I guess I should have just been prepared for whatever. But I was able to coach myself through it and bring my heart rate back down. I was spinning, I was dizzy, so I just leaned over onto my knees, and I really thought I was gonna it was gonna be I really was concerned there for a second, but I was able to bring myself down, and we were actually, luckily we were close to landing a little bit. We were about a half hour out, so I just breathed myself through it for 10-15 minutes, and I was able to make it through. But that was just coupled with I hadn't eaten, because it should have been, or it was the middle of the night. I hadn't slept. So all of those things are my triggers. And then put that with the fact of just not being able to, sometimes what is happening, I think, is our nerves are misfiring or whatever, not able to know where they are in time and space. And so like if I'm sleeping, and normally I'm sleeping in a bed or on my beanbag or somewhere that is like static, somewhere that's not moving, and then I wake up and I'm just in the air, in the clouds, I think that like my entire nervous system was like, I don't know what's happening right now. So I am proud of myself for being able to recover up out of that. But it wasn't a super pleasant experience. So my number one lesson that I have learned already is I'm not booking a flight where I can't sleep. I would like to book a flight early in the morning where I have my most spoons, but I need to be able to sleep. So if anyone is thinking about traveling and sleep is a thing for you, don't miss out on your sleep to do the traveling. It won't be worth it, because it really took me the entire next day, so the entire day after traveling, to realize that, or to recover from not having that rest. Make sure that I can sleep. Make sure that I can sleep. Make sure that I eat. I did have snacks, of course, but sometimes it's just not enough. So how has it been going? Well, I've been using mobility aids most of the time. Most of the time that I've been here, I've been using my cane. And I really don't use my cane, but this house that I'm at is bigger. There's a very long hallway. There's a very long driveway. So there's a lot more walking to get from place to place around the house. And so that's an adjustment for me. So that is something to take into consideration when you are leaving out of your normal space, your normal environment, is what is the setting going to be like, so that you can make sure you take what you need, what is going to be appropriate for that setting. So like last night we went to go see the beach, or we went to the beach to see the sunset at the beach. And so that is totally up my alley, something that I am all about. I'm all about nature, all about seeing something like that. But the sand and FND, that would be a no. What's the tea on FND and walking on a sandy beach? Nah, not for me. Not for me. My legs got jiggly so fast. I got like, I kid you not, maybe 5 steps in and I was like, oh no, going back to the concrete. So I had to go along like the concrete boardwalk. So that's like, dang, I used to love just going to the beach and running through the sand. I used to do flips all through the sand, back handsprings and handstand walks. And now I can't even walk through the sand. So that's an adjustment. And I could have used maybe my rollator, walker, or a wheelchair, but I didn't bring all of that stuff with me. So make sure I suggest that you think about where you're going and what you're going to be doing, and then have the mobility aids that you need available to you, so that you don't have to miss out on anything. So I don't feel like I missed out. I just I missed out on the walking along the sand during the sunset, but I still got to see it and I still got to spend time with family. So it was completely worth it for me. I did have a little bit of a disappointing moment when everyone decided to go on a walk. Don't have a wheelchair, so I just had to stay home. And so once I realized everyone was gone, I kind of like, the disappointment began to set in. It was like, yeah, they left you. They didn't even invite you because they know that you couldn't go, but they left you. And that was difficult. It was difficult, but I needed it. I needed that rest. So I was appreciative that they understood and didn't even try, so then I didn't have to try to push myself, because if they would have asked, I would have said, oh, I'll try, and then I would have been regretting it later. So just knowing like, hey, if she wants to come, she will. And that's how I have kind of set things out in certain situations. Not like being invited to things, but like if family's out playing games in the living room, or if they decide to go out on the patio, or if they wanted to go back down to the beach, something like that, then if I just am not up to it, I just won't go. And so I just missed out on the walk, and I wish I could have gone because my sweet little niece and everything was in the stroller, and it would have been cool to take pictures and whatnot. However, I got to rest, so then I was able to do the beach sunset. So there's going to always be a trade-off, in my opinion. And the first day, I was hurting. I've been hurting. Even though I wasn't walking around the airport, that was still traveling for me. So that was a lot of sitting. I don't do that much sitting straight up. Like, I will lay down, or I get up and walk around, or I adjust my position on my beanbag, but I'm not just sitting. So I was sitting in a wheelchair from 2 a.m. to 6:20 a.m. and then in an airplane, and then in a car, and then we had to drive 2.5 hours. So I was sitting. So that entire first day was mostly recovery. It was mostly a recovery day, and I'm not really playing it off well. I'm not trying to play it off, but I never like to be the person to bring the energy down. So I've been, I've been shown, it is now evident to me that my body is not playing with me. I knew that, and that's why I was been kind of hesitant or kind of concerned about taking this trip. But I see now that it's like, you better do the things that you know that you need to do for me. And I'm like, you're so bossy. But I get it, and I agree with it. So I was able to use that first day, kind of recover, and then I've been the bed here is really comfortable, so that helps. That has helped immensely. I don't know what I would have done if it was uncomfortable, but making sure to stretching. I'm stretching every day, and that's been the key for me, is stretching out where I feel the pain, really targeting where I feel certain pain, and then just stretching into it. Instead of trying to tense up around the pain, I stretch more into my pain and just like stretch it out, soothe it out, and that has been helping a whole lot. I kind of started that before I left, but I've really been focused on it because I have other resources that are not available right now. So I stretch into the pain, and that's what I'm doing to try to continue going and get through the days. The food situation is a bit different here, but I am adjusting to that. Luckily, I'm seeing my best brother, and so he's vegan, so I'm also plant-based. So it's been easier to adjust if you go to someone who also is kind of following those same sorts of guidelines. So it hasn't been too bad of an adjustment. So that way, at least check food, we've got that covered. I'm making sure I'm resting, and that's why I've been able to recover or maintain like the level that I'm at, so that I don't go any further down and am not able to do anything. So the weather, so I'm north. I live south. So now I'm north. We're in Michigan, and it's nice. It's nice. I like hot. I like the heat. And so this is just a little bit breezier, and so I get a little bit more cold in my bones. My grandmother used to say that, or she says that, and I always sound like a grandmother when I say my bones, I'm cold inside my bones, but I can feel it. I literally can feel the cold inside of my bones, and I'm adjusting-ish. I'm out with just a short sleeve shirt on right now, and I'm okay. It's not super cool. The sun is out. The last 2 days the sun has been out. The first day the sun wasn't out, and that was my worst day. So I literally yesterday, after I finished doing my hair, which that was a whole task in itself, and I was like, I know, body, I'm so sorry that I have to do this to you. I know we just recovered, but I have to get ready for this wedding, and it's on Saturday, so I needed to do my hair. So after I did my hair, I literally went just outside on the patio and was like, I'm going to talk to the sun. And I just sat on the hammock and stared at the lake, and it was very peaceful. So it was a good way to kind of relax for having worked hard and been standing and doing a lot of raising my arms above my head and stuff like that during the morning. As far as like pain relief and stuff like that, I do have some herbal medicine that I've been taking part in, which is the only way that I'm making it through in all reality. And then also I did bring my heating pad. I haven't had to use the TENS machine almost last night, but I did bring a heating pad, but it's not my normal heating pad. It's the backup heating pad that I have. So it's not the same. So even like the relief that I did bring here is still kind of subpar to the relief that I would be giving myself. So I mean, I am operating, I would say, on a lower frequency or a lower capacity right now, but I'm kind of in like battery saver mode. And then I already am like preparing myself, because when I get back, usually after holding myself together so long, I just simply fall apart. So, hopefully not. Fingers crossed I don't. Fingers crossed I can maintain. But I can feel that I am just like pushing and pushing and pushing. Even to get this episode out, I've been up for like 3 hours trying to get the microphone to work, to connect to the camera. And it's been a whole just... It was a test to see if I really wanted to do it, but I absolutely did. And I am glad I was able to give the tea on travel part 2. And while I'm out here traveling, and I will say that the community of people, the family that I am around and the community that I'm with has been so supportive. From Mommy Junior to my mom to my best brother to all of his family, and then just being able to meet my niece, it has been so fulfilling, and I wouldn't have changed it. I'm so glad I came. I'm so glad that I know that I can do the things and I'm not letting FND hold me back. I refuse to do that, and I'm going to show up. I'm showing up for the wedding. I'm showing up for family. I'm showing up where people want to see me, and for memories, where memories are going to be made, and I'm excited about it. So I just wanted to do a brief part 2 episode on FND and travel, and I really just wanted to take advantage of this scenery because I absolutely love it. And if I could have this same setting where I live with the weather that I have, I would be so complete. But it's been very, very fun. That's all the tea that I have for now on FND and travel. If you haven't already checked out FND and travel part 1, make sure to do that. And till next time, be intentional, be faithful, and be humble.